Hello, good morning. Dinesh sir, am I audible? Hello, Dinesh sir, am I audible? Can you hear me? Vikramjeet Singh, can you hear me? Yes, sir.
Neeraj, I think Vice Principal has also joined. I think she can start and then can go ahead.
Okay, okay. I request Vice Principal ma'am to please share, welcome our guest today and please share her views on this important topic. Nancy ma'am,
Thank you so much, Professor Neeraj Jain ji.
thank you, sir.
Respected Director UG and Director IT, Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandey, sir. Resource person of the day, Dr. Dinesh Babu R, Senior Data Scientist, Brainsweek EduTech Private Limited, Chennai. Code Chairperson, BCA, Dr. Vidushi Singh ji. Coordinators of BCA first year, coordinator of BCA second year, coordinator of BCA third year. Coordinator of the event, Professor Neeraj Jain ji. And all the faculty colleagues and dear students, a very good morning. As rightly mentioned by Neeraj Jain ji, Professor Neeraj Jain ji, that the theme for today's session, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning using Python, is a very, very relevant theme for any IT professional. Dear students, do you know which are the most influential new age technologies that are being used by industries worldwide today? I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. So, artificial intelligence and machine learning are among those technologies, and the scope of them in India is tremendous. As this field demands and offers amazing career opportunities due to its versatility, advanced solutions, and wide scope of usefulness all across all the industrial sectors, starting from automobiles, robotics, education, learning, um, and to healthcare, then medicines, agriculture, and it has a lot of scope in the field of cyber security, data analytics, smart home automation, and whatnot. The self-driving cars, robotic assistant, chatbots, the automated disease diagnosis, all these are the products of emerging IT revolutions, as it touches upon the various aspects of human intelligence, including self-learning, then reasoning, and many others. So AI basically helps any machine to repeat, to behave like a human being, and it helps in interpretation, in decision making, and a lot of other aspects also. So any machine which is able to interact with the surroundings with the help of any algorithms, that kind of facility is being provided by artificial intelligence. And as we all know that, today a lot of AI algorithms are also being developed every day to keep pace with the various industry processes and operations. So the future scope of artificial intelligence is very bright, and a lot of new job roles and advancements in this sector is coming up. And different kind of roles like AI cybersecurity expert, like AI analyst and developers, AI researchers, um, and AI like AI algorithm specialists are also some of the career roles or the job roles. So my dear students, the future of artificial intelligence is very bright, because a lot of organizations are opting for AI automation. Even n number of IT professionals are aspiring to make their career in the field of AI and ML, and therefore they are looking for different ways to upskill themselves and become an expert in this field. So as an IT graduate student, it is important and necessary for each one of you to understand the recent developments in the field of AI and analyze your competencies and skills, so that you can choose a preferable AI role in days to come. So that you can also train yourself and upskill yourself with the competencies which are required in days to come. So my best wishes to each one of you, and I look forward to an active participation with a lot of learnings in the session today. And I am really very thankful to the resource person, Dr. Dinesh Babuji, who has accepted our invitation to guide our students, train our students in this field. And I welcome him at this virtual platform and thank for his valuable time and precious time today. So thank you so much. Over to you, Professor Neeraj Jain ji.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Before requesting our respected director, sir, to say a few words, which are always full of knowledge for all of us, I request every student, those who are there in this session, please switch on your camera, right? Every student is supposed to on his or her camera, please. May I request Director Sir, respected Director Sir, sir, please say a few words, welcome our guests, and please continue the session. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neeraj ji. Guest of this very important session, Dr. Dinesh ji, Vice Principal, UG Campus, Professor Nancy Sharma ji, the Chairperson, BCA Program, Dr. Vidushi ji, Professor Ravi ji, and of course, Sutradhar of this session, Professor Neeraj Jain ji. In fact, this is something which is very important for everyone, especially the student like us who are from technology. We all know that at least in last 6-7 years, the way technology has advanced, the way the nature of applications which are coming up are changing. The way technology has now impacted the businesses, even to our individual lives. What we used to have 2 years back, now this has been drastically changed. And it is very important for us as a student of technology that we try to understand that what are those driving forces, what are those underlying concepts and technologies which are actually bringing change, transformation in the nature of applications which are being adopted across the businesses. If we look at around the researches which are going on, we all know that NASSCOM is an organization, is considered to be an apex body when it comes to the people who are specifically from technology domain. It keeps engaged in identifying the way technology is moving. It tries to identify in what direction the industry is moving ahead. What are those factors which are contributing in industrial development, how the technology is being adopted and what kind of technology is adopted. Not only this, even at global level, the industry leaders of top global companies, they also try to keep watch on these technological advancements, the way management it's behaving, to understand that what is there in store after 5 to 10 years down the lane. Because as an industry, if a business is in existence today, after 5 years, whether it will be in existence or not, it will depend on how fast it is accepting, adopting, and responding to all these changes and changing needs. You all know that before about a decade back, different set of technologies were available to us. We used to have different kind of technology. Now, within 10 years, the kind of journey, the kind of transformation the businesses have seen. And when I say businesses, I include academics too. 2 years back, the way you used to come to institute, the way you used to study at the institute. Now, in last 1.5 years entirely, the landscape has been changed. Now, we never thought of 2 years back that the full-time course curriculum like BBA and BCA would be imparted in completely online mode, including whether it is teaching, whether it is internal assessment, whether it is university examination. Everything has been heavily impacted, and thanks to internet, thanks to this technology, because it is the technology which has helped us not making our houses islands, because this was the technology which kept. Now, I was referring to NASSCOM, and then at global level, the World Economic Forum is an organization which meets where globally expert, global leaders of leading companies, they come together, they discuss among themselves. Even when they were discussing and their discussion was minuted, they pointed out that there are 4 technologies which are going to dominate the industry in next coming few years. It included, number 1, of course, the cloud. Second, it was big data, because now the kind of data we are getting, it is not only structured, it is unstructured, it is semi-structured. So businesses need some kind of storage structure where they can store all kind of data at one place. So second was this. Third was, of course, with the introduction of 5G. Now the mobile internet is going to play a very crucial role. The internet connectivity is going to transform. But all these 3 things are going to be heavily dominated by 4th pillar, which we call AI and machine learning. Because if you look around in the businesses, the way these businesses are including the AI-based, machine learning-based systems, it is eye-opening. And as a student of information technology, if we understand today that how these applications are being developed, what kind of applications are coming up, why this AI and machine learning is considered to be one of the dominating technology, which is going to drive that entire industrial growth in coming next few years, it is very important. And if we have an understanding of this AI and machine learning, trust me, this is something which is going to be very crucial, not only to make yourself aware, but of course, when it comes to your career prospects. Dr. Dinesh, in fact, I was going through his profile, who himself is a data scientist. And when we call data science, a person who is coming from data science background, data science is something which is not something like you are a programmer, you are a tester, or you are into user UI development. Or data science, a data scientist is someone who has an in-depth understanding of multiple verticals, because he is the person who, in fact, leads the entire transformation process when it comes to data analysis, data storage, data architecture. And then this machine learning is something which is very important when it comes to getting interpretation, getting outcomes from the large data stores. So this AI and machine learning is something which is very important. And as a student of information technology, we cannot keep ourselves in isolation, because in whatever vertical you are aspiring to be, if you are in information technology, or even if you are going for other streams too, that AI and machine learning is something which is going to be present virtually everywhere. So it is better that we understand what actually it is. We try to find out something which can help us in better understanding of these application areas. And then as a student, how you can start learning this thing, how you can start feeling comfortable, because that motivation is very much important. And I'm sure we have a wonderful resource person with us, Dr. Dinesh ji. You are going to have a deeper insight of subject what actually it is, what kind of application it can have. Because if a person is coming from data science background, in fact, he knows how to play with data. When I say play with data, it doesn't it not only means how to store this data, how to process the data, but of course everything. As a software engineer, he has different perspective. As a domain expert, he has different perspective. As a business analyst, because ultimately whatever you analyze, it is going to be used by businesses. And if it is not useful for businesses, it doesn't make any sense. So that is one. Data architect, that is one of the most important thing. So because that orchestration is very important when we talk about data. Then how those applications are going to be used, and how does that entire data for which this entire exercise has been done, how it is going to be analyzed, and then analyze result, how it is going to be interpreted and presented. This is very important. And a data science has all these attributes. And we have such a person today in this session, Dr. Dineshji. And I'm sure that all of us, whether we as, when I say as a faculty, in fact, we do consider ourselves as a student, because a teacher can remain a teacher only when he is a lifelong learner. So I'm sure that we all are going to have different perspective. We all are going to learn something new. And I'm sure that once this session closes, we all will have something to take away with us. Dr. Dineshji, on behalf of Institute, I welcome you. And I'm sure that our students will have a wonderful session today on this very important topic, AI and machine learning. Neeraj ji.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, it is always pleasant learning. It is always full of learning to just listen to you. Now I would request Dineshji, let me introduce you. Just give me a second. So let me share the brief profile of the speaker today. Dr. Dinesh Babu have 12 years of vast experience in training profession to both Indian and overseas students. He has done BTech from Sri Anglamman College of Engineering and Technology, Trichy, MBA from ICFI Business School, IBS Hyderabad, and has completed his PhD in the field of data analytics and machine learning from BITS Pilani. Currently, he is working for Capgemini as senior data scientist. He has also worked with iGate Global Solution as consultant in the analytics division. He is CDAP certified professional. In a national level data science competition, where out of 4 lakhs participants were there, only 30 were selected across India. Our guest, Mr. Dinesh Babu, was among these 30 scientists. So very nice. Congratulations, Dinesh sir. Now, without taking too much time, I request you to please take on the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Yes. Yes. So good morning, respected directors and vice principal and faculties and students, everyone who joined in this session. So this session is all about the artificial intelligence machine learning using Python. So we are going to learn or discuss about what is machine learning, what are all the modules in the machine learning, where we can apply, how we can apply, what tool we are going to use, the career aspects of machine learning and AI will discuss in detail in this session. So hope everyone able to see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. Okay, so before going to discuss about the artificial intelligence and machine learning, so according to you, so what is machine learning? So casually you can try. So any of you, please share your views. What is machine learning according to you? What is the purpose of machine learning?
Yes, anyone can answer.
Right. So machine learning is nothing but makes the things into more automated way. Whatever the human being repeatedly doing, that we can automate the process. That's why we go for machine learning. Machine learning means makes the things into more automated way. Whatever the human being repeatedly doing, that we can automate the process to minimize the human being interventions, to make them more automation. Okay. Through that way, many of the companies improvised their productivity. So many aspects, the machine learning helps to automate the process. For instance, in your mobile there is an app name called Google Assistant. If you say something based on the human being instruction, the Google Assistant understand, accordingly it react to that. That is because of machine learning. Wherever automations are there, definitely machine learning algorithm is implemented in that. So machine learning is very much helpful for automations. There are powerful algorithms are there in the machine learning. So we'll discuss in detail what machine learning can do. Whatever human being repeatedly doing, that we can automate the process. For example, speech recognition, voice recognition, pattern recognition. Nowadays, most of the financial applications and all, nowadays they go for face recognition, pattern recognitions and all there. That is because of machine learning. So what they are doing means they are just collecting the biometric informations of the person, like in the eye, retina, or in the face. They are linking the biometric information with the standard, our proof. They are verifying that information. These are all achieved because of machine learning. So with the help of machine learning, we can automate the process. Why this machine learning is so popular nowadays? Because we are generating so much data. If that is the case, normal software or normal statistics will not support. Even the human being takes more time to understand. So to avoid that, to improvise our process, we need automation, because we are generating so much data, not only in terms of volume. Volume means capacity, not only in terms of volume. Varieties of data. We have text data, numerical data, image data, video data, varieties of data nowadays we have. And velocity, the speed of the data is also very high. If this is the case, normal statistics or software will not support. We need a powerful algorithm. That's why we go for machine learning. To automate the process, to minimize the human being intervention, we go for machine learning algorithm. 90% of the data we generated only in the last 2 years. So where these data are coming from? What is the source of this data? Which are all the source? So casually you can try where these big data are coming from. Whether it is right or not an issue. Just try. So this big data are coming from one of the major sources, social media. Nowadays, social media is generating so much data. In before days and all, if you want to advertise the college admissions or school admission or any new product or service, before days and all, we used to go to newspaper, radio and television. But nowadays, we are using social media. Through social media, we can reach maximum number of people. It is not restricted with only particular region. It is wide, worldwide. Social media reach maximum number of people with a short period of time. So social media is one of the major source nowadays. Facebook, Twitter, and all. And in before days and all, people used to search a job through Naukri and Monster. But nowadays, with the help of LinkedIn, they can apply the job. So LinkedIn profile is their resume nowadays. So nowadays, so many companies are avoiding to get the resume hard copies. Ask them to share the LinkedIn profile. So social media is one of the major source. Okay, and mobile devices. In before days and all, if you buy 1 GB data, we can use 1 day, 1 week we can use. But nowadays, 1 GB is not sufficient for 1 day also. So that much data we are generating. If that is the case, normal software will not support, it will hang. So we are generating huge volume of data. So if that is the case, again, we need a powerful algorithm, because of the in-app facility in the mobile generating so much data. In before days and all, we used mobile only for call and message purpose. But nowadays, because of the app coming, the Android or iPhone app, we are generating so much data. For example, if you book some food in Swiggy or Zomato, or if you order some product in Flipkart or Amazon, what happened, so app is sending messages to respective customer. It is send respective supplier, respective. If you book one food in Zomato, what happened? The app is sending messages to respective customer, respective delivery person, respective restaurant, respective bank, respective app company. One booking generates so much data because of generating this big data. And the internet transactions. So because of the internet transactions, we transformed so many things. So many things are comes into the digitalization. If that is the case, again, normal algorithm will not support. The normal software will not support C++, Java, .NET, and all, at some extent only. But when we have huge volume of data nowadays, we are migrating into the Python environment for handling the big data. And network devices, IoT. So these are all the major source. Majorly the data are coming from these source. If that is the case, normal software will not support. We need a powerful algorithm to make the things into more automated way. That's why we go for machine learning. If you look into as per the stats, in the year of 2010, we have only 800 exabytes, but now we have, as per the last year data, 40,000 exabytes, 50 times more than the data what we have already. That much data we generated. If that is the case, normal software will not support. This is completely because of digitalization. After Jio comes to India, you know what happened? Everyone is freely using. Everyone is using the data. It is not restricted with only in urban area or metro cities. Everywhere the data is everywhere. Even the government is providing free data to the students. So if that is the case, we need to control, we need to handle the big data. Those type of things we can handle by using the machine learning algorithm. So let me give you one small example how Google implemented machine learning in this in the Google Assistant. Let me show you one small video clip how they are handling, how they are using machine learning to automate their process. This is completely because of the speech recognition. Let me tell you some examples and modules of speech recognition in the upcoming slides.
Our vision for our assistant is to get things done. It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week.
Dineshna, can you please increase the volume?
Is hope the audio is able to hear the audio, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me.
We want to hear what Mr. Sundar Pichai
We're
is saying.
working hard. As I said earlier, our vision for our assistant is to help you get things done.
Yeah, better.
It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. We're working hard to help users through those moments. We want to connect users to businesses in a good way. Businesses actually rely a lot on this, but even in the US, 60% of small businesses don't have an online booking system set up. We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant saying, "Hey Siri, make a phone call on Tuesday between 10 and noon." What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant saying, "Hey Siri, make a phone call on Tuesday between 10 and noon." is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a woman's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now? Okay, we have at 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard. The amazing thing is the assistant can actually understand the nuances of conversation. We've been working on this technology for many years. It's called Google Duplex. It brings together all our investments over the years in natural language understanding, deep learning, text-to-speech. By the way, when we are done, the assistant can give you a confirmation notification saying your appointment has been scheduled. Let me give you another example. Let's say you want to call a restaurant, but maybe it's a small restaurant which is not easily available to book online. The call actually goes a bit differently than expected. So take a listen.
Can I hear you?
Hi, I'd like to book for Wednesday the 7th.
For 7 people?
It's for 4 people.
4 people with
Next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
actually we need to go like after like 5 people. For people you can come.
How long is the wait usually to be seated?
Tomorrow or weekday or?
For next Wednesday, the 7th.
Oh no, it's not too easy. You can come for 4 people, okay?
Oh, I gotcha. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
That was a real call. We have many of these examples where the calls quite don't go as expected, but the assistant understands the context, the nuance. It knew to ask for wait times in this case and handle the interaction gracefully. But we're still developing this technology, and we actually want to work hard to get this right, get the user experience and the expectation right for both businesses and users. But done correctly, it will save time for people and generate a lot of value for businesses. We really want it to work in cases, say if you're a busy parent in the morning and your kid is sick and you want to call for a doctor's appointment. So we're going to work hard to get this right. There's a more straightforward case where we can roll this out sooner, where, for example, every single day we get a lot of queries into Google where people are wondering on the opening and closing hours of businesses. But it gets tricky during holidays and businesses get a lot of calls. So we as Google can make just that one phone call and then update the information for millions of users, and it will save a small business countless number of calls. So we're going to get moments like this right and make the experience better for users. This is going to be rolling out as an experiment in the coming weeks, so stay tuned. A common theme across all this is we are working hard to give users back time.
Yes. So hope you yourself understand how the machine learning helps to automate the process and minimize the human being interventions to help them to improvise their productivity. Okay, so these are all the things achieved because of machine learning. Machine learning plays vital role in the business. And when we go for machine learning, there are 3 modules are there. there are three modules in the machine learning. Number one, supervised machine learning algorithm. Number two, unsupervised learning algorithm. Number three, reinforcement learning. These are all the three modules in the machine learning algorithm. When we go for supervised learning, supervised means there is dependent and independent variable in our analysis. We go for supervised learning. Dependent variable means output variable. So whenever we have input and output variable in the analysis, we go for supervised machine learning algorithm. Whereas when we go for unsupervised, unsupervised means where all the variables are independent of each other. If all the variables are independent, we go for unsupervised learning. Whereas reinforcement learning means where the response stimulus method is there, we go for reinforcement learning. So these are all the three modules in the machine learning algorithm. Yes. So for any doubts? Fine. So when we go for stop me, wherever you have doubt, please stop me. Yeah. So when we go for supervised learning, supervised means there is a dependent and independent variable in the analysis. We go for supervised learning. Dependent variable means output variable. Independent variable means input variable. So whenever we have input and output variable in the analysis, we go for supervised learning algorithm. Whereas unsupervised means all the variables are independent of each other. We don't have any dependent variable. If all the variables are independent, we go for unsupervised learning. Whereas reinforcement means the response stimulus method. That is, Google search is one of the best example for reinforcement learning. So these are all the three modules in the machine learning algorithm. So when we go for supervised learning, supervised means there is an input and output variable. So whenever we have input and output variable in the analysis, we go for supervised machine learning algorithm. In that, we have regression, classification, decision tree, random forest. So these are all the different algorithms come under supervised learning. So when we say supervised means there is an input and output variable in the analysis, we go for supervised machine learning. Supervised machine learning means when we have an input and output variable, we go for supervised learning algorithm. In that, we have regression, classification, decision tree, random forest. These are all the different algorithms come under supervised learning. When we go for regression, regression means to find the causal effect relation. When we are changing one variable, how much impact is there on the another variable is called regression. Because of changing CEO of the company, is there any impact on the stock price? Because of COVID-19, is there any impact on the economy? Because of giving more and more placement to the college, placement to the students, is there any impact on the admission? So regression is nothing but to find the causal effect relation. The second algorithm is classification technique. We can classify the records based on the target audience. We can classify the outcome. For example, there are n number of people can apply for loan, but bank can take the decision to sanction only some set of people. Only bank sanctioned the loan. So that is because of classification technique. For instance, in a college, there are number of students is applying for admission. Only the college give admission to only certain set of students who are matched the criteria. So classification technique means we can classify the records. That's why we go for classification. Then decision tree. This is also one of the algorithm come under supervised machine learning. So decision tree is nothing but for the particular problem, we can arrive n number of solution, out of which is the best solution for that problem we can find by using decision tree algorithm. Decision tree is a pictorial way of representing the data. From the root node to leaf node, we can classify the record. That's why we go for classification technique. Classification technique, the decision tree is a classification technique. We can classify the record in a pictorial format. We can classify. That's why we go for decision tree. Okay, these are all the different algorithms come under supervised machine learning. Supervised means there is a dependent and independent variable. Whenever we have input and the output variable in the analysis, we go for supervised learning. Supervised means input and the output variable. In that case, we go for supervised learning. Whereas unsupervised means we don't have any dependent variable. If all the variables are independent of each other, we go for unsupervised learning. Unsupervised means all are independent of each other. That is unsupervised learning. Unsupervised means we don't have any dependent or output variable. If all the variables are independent of each other, we go for unsupervised learning. In that, we have clustering, association, image compression, probability, dimension reduction. These are all the different algorithms come under unsupervised learning. Unsupervised means we don't have any dependent variable. All are independent of each other. We go for unsupervised. For example, clustering. So clustering is a grouping technique. Clustering is a grouping technique, which is mainly used to group the homogeneous characteristics or similar characteristics of response. We go for clustering. So you know the brand name called Horlicks. More than 45 years they are successfully running the business. That is because of clustering. Because different target audience, they are giving different product. Children's means junior Horlicks. Age-old women, women's Horlicks. Pregnant ladies, mother's Horlicks. So that is because of clustering. Clustering is a grouping technique which is used to group the similar characteristics of response. We go for clustering. Clustering is very much helpful for market segmentation. So they segmented the market accordingly. They customized the solution to them. That's why still they are in the market. Still they are successfully running the business. Around 7 years back, which cab services you know in India? Any cab services you know? Taxi service? Around 5 to 7 years back. You may heard about some brand, right? What brand yourself heard? Around 5 to 7 years back. Have you heard about Meru cabs? Meru cabs around 5 to 7 years back. Are they reached maximum level in their business? Meru cabs, are they reached maximum level? They didn't reach maximum level, right? Okay, Meru cabs, they didn't reach maximum level. You know, just 3 to 4 years back only, the brand name called Ola, Uber came into the market, but they reached maximum level in the business because of clustering. They customized the service according to the target audience. The Ola, Uber and all, they customized the service. You know, the Ola is providing varieties of services. Ola Auto, Ola Mini, Micro, Prime, Outstation, Rental, Airport, or varieties of services. That is because of clustering. Clustering is very much helpful for market segmentation. Then next, there is another unsupervised learning, which is nothing but the association rule. Association rule is mainly helpful to build the recommendation system. If you want to build the recommendation system, we go for association rule. For instance, if you buy some product in Flipkart or Amazon, if you buy one product in Amazon, what Amazon gives? If you select one product, Amazon give the notification. The customer who buy this product, they can also buy this product also. Have you experienced that recommendations? If you buy one product, you can also buy this product also, where most of the customer is buying. Or if you watch one video in YouTube, YouTube will suggest you. So the suggested or recommended video for you, like that will get in the right hand side. That is because of association rule. For example, we are watching the series news, breaking news we are watching in the YouTube, and in the right hand side, if they are giving some cooking video, if it is giving, the people, are they interested to watch the next video? No, right? So we need to make them more interest to watch the more number of videos. So that is also implemented with the help of association rule. Okay, the third module is reinforcement learning. Reinforcement means based on the response stimulus method, we go for reinforcement learning. So many gaming application is developed with the help of reinforcement. Like, chess machine, chess game. If you move one coin in the chess, system move automatically the another coin. Robots, many gaming application is developed with the help of reinforcement learning. Okay, these are all achieved with the help of reinforcement. So machine learning is applicable to almost all the industries. It is not restricted with any particular industry. It is used in the finance, manufacturing, bioinformatics, web mining, retail, medicine, telecom, everywhere machine learning is widely used, because everywhere the data is more, we need automations. Okay, so widely used. So machine learning is one of the module in the data science. This is a complete data science process. So when we go for data science, first we'll get the raw data, then we will process it, clean it, then we go for EDA. EDA means exploratory data analysis, which is a basic analysis of data. So once we done the EDA, then we can apply machine learning. Then we can visualize the result, finally make the decision. So machine learning is one of the module in data science. And these are all the different algorithms which is there under machine learning. Under supervised learning, I already said machine learning comprises of 3 modules: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. These are all 3 modules. So when we say supervised learning, supervised means there is a dependent and independent variable. So whenever we have a dependent and independent, we go for supervised learning. In that supervised learning, we have regression, decision tree, random forest, KNN, logistic regression, support vector machine, naive Bayes. Like we have varieties of algorithm, different algorithms come under supervised learning. Whereas in the unsupervised, we have clustering, PCA, principal component analysis, a priori algorithm, MBA, market basket analysis, hidden Markov model. These are all the different algorithms come under unsupervised learning. So we will discuss detailedly about all these algorithms practically in detail in the upcoming sessions. Okay, machine learning is very much helpful for automating the process. The brand name called Boston Dynamics. Have you heard about Boston Dynamics? Boston Dynamics is a famous for robotics design and engineering company. Last year, Boston Dynamics developed the dog-like robot with the help of machine learning algorithm. Through the dog-like robot, they automated the process in the construction and the entertainment industry. Okay, so that's why it is very much helpful to automating the process. Let me show you one small video clip how machine learning is used in the various industries by using this Boston Dynamics. So with the help of machine learning instruction, the robot detecting the another robot. And with the help of machine learning, it is detecting the metal object and opening the door, allowing another robot to enter into the room. So these type of automations are done with the help of machine learning algorithm. So when we want to become the machine learning, we need 3 skill sets. Number 1, computer knowledge to do some programming in Python. Second, the statistics knowledge to build the model, to build the machine learning model, and domain knowledge. So all these things we will learn through this course. Okay, these are all 3 skill set mandatorily required to become the machine learning expert. So where we can acquire this knowledge? Through this type of certification course, we can acquire this knowledge. Where and all we can apply? Machine learning is applicable in where? Everywhere, which I already said, everywhere we can use. You know, one of the prestigious award in the world is Oscar. Last year, you know what happened? The Oscar want to predict the best picture award. For that, the company name called Clarenbridge and Cognizant, they came forward and they predicted the best picture award with the help of IMDb, the ratings and reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, the ratings and reviews, they predicted the Revenant is a movie is going to win the Oscar. 1 month before itself, they predicted with the help of machine learning algorithm. So imagine that how powerful the machine learning algorithms are nowadays. Everywhere we can use, even Google search engine is working because of machine learning. If you search some word, the relevant information is getting the instance of time, very instantly we are getting the relevant information. That is also because of machine learning. And even, which I already said, even the Amazon, the recommendation system, if you buy one product in Amazon, Amazon recommends you what is the next product you want to buy. The customer who buy this product also, they can buy this product also. This is called a cross-selling concept in the business. So through that, we can maximize the sales. These are all achieved because of machine learning. And even in the YouTube, if you watch one video in YouTube, YouTube recommends you what is the next video you want to watch. So these type of recommendation, again, because of machine learning. And Facebook, if you log in into your account, whoever friends is there in your account, those posts only fits into your account. And based on your friends list, Facebook suggests you who are all the friends you can also add as the friend. Okay, these type of suggestions are coming because of machine learning. So through machine learning, we can automate the process. And many gaming applications nowadays developed with the help of machine learning algorithm. You know, EA Sports, Jenga, Battlefield, FIFA, one of the famous game, Battlefield. Battlefield also developed with the help of machine learning algorithm. So when we go for the game, when we are playing the game, level by level, the complexity of the game gets increased. Okay, that is also implemented because of machine learning algorithm. Okay, even the FICO score in US, you know, where to measure the credit worthiness of the person, they use machine learning. How in India, we have CIBIL score or credit score. Based on that, the bank can issue the loan. In before days and all, the customer walk n number of time to the bank. Okay, the customer walk n number of time to the bank to sanction the loan, to get the loan. But nowadays, based on the credit worthiness of the person, based on the credit worthiness, the bank can decide whether the person is eligible to get the loan or not. So these are all the things achieved because of machine learning algorithm. And you know, the brand name called Zara. Have you heard about Zara brand? Zara? Have you heard about? Yes. So Zara is famous for which industry? Zara is famous for fashion, right? The clothing industry, right? Zara is famous for clothing. They have, you know, every year they introduce more than 84 crores of garments they produce in their inventory. You know, with respect to Zara, more than 20,000 new design they introduce in the market. Zara is one of the largest distributor in this world, especially in the retail apparel division. If that is a case, normal statistics or software will not able to manage this much data. They use machine learning to automate their process. So what they did was, you know, each and every garment, they fix the RFID tag. Okay. So if that is a case, once the customer purchased, they remove the RFID tag from the garment. They remove the RFID tag. If they remove the RFID tag from the garment, which means the particular garment is sold out. The particular garment is sold out. So based on the information, the billing department give notification to the storeroom. The storeroom give them notification to the production department. So these type of automations are done with the help of machine learning algorithm. Through machine learning only we can automate the process. So these are all the things is achieved because of machine learning. By using through machine learning, we can automate the process. Okay, through machine learning, we can automate the process. Okay, so let me show you one small video clip how Zara managed their inventory and supply chain by using machine learning and big data with the help of RFID tag concept. So hope you understand that how they are managing Zara, managing their inventory and the stock more effectively by using the data analytics and machine learning. That's why still Zara is in the market leader position. So imagine that machine learnings are very powerful. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so this is entirely dependent on feedback. The
Correct,
feedback
sir.
they receive
Correct.
From,
based on the
RFID
reviews,
and-
feedback. Correct. Correct.
Carry on, sir. Carry on.
So machine learning is applicable in almost all the industries, which I already said. It is not restricted with any particular industry. It is used in the retail sector to do the market basket analysis, store segmentation, product mixing, and even in the telecom sector to do the subscriber churn analysis. In before days and all, we used to recharge separately for call, message, data, everything separately. By nowadays, based on the buying patterns of the consumer, they made some pack, the subscribing pack. if you purchase 300 rupees, where everything is there in that one. So that is because of machine learning. Based on the buying pattern, they're automating their process. Healthcare, clinical data analysis, and banking, sports, even sports also need machine learning. Selecting the right player in the right match, right game is very important. Learning and education sector, because in US and all, but in India, we used to, some of the university we used to get admission easily, but in US and all, so it is very difficult to get the admission like Harvard or Stanford and all. So they can't do manually give the admission to the students based on the marks they scored and the college they undergone in their studies, and like based on this information, they automated the process. Who are all eligible to get to the admission, who are all not eligible to get the admission. So these type of automations are implemented in the education sector also, and the government, law, entertainment, manufacturing sector, energy, e-commerce, almost all the industries, machine learning is very much used. Not only in the industry point of view, even in the business functions. Nowadays, the business functions also generating more and more data. For example, ERP, CRM, supply chain, every business module, the SBU, strategic business unit, all the SBUs are generating more and more data. If that is the case, we need a powerful algorithm to automate the process like CRM, risk management, operation, infrastructure, supply chain, HR. All these business functions are achieved with the help of machine learning algorithm. Everywhere, even keeping the right product in the right shelf is very important. So based on the buying pattern, we need to keep the right product in the right shelf. Then only we can get more sales. The customer can easily pick the product, put it in their basket. One end is Colgate brush, another end is Colgate paste, means the customer will not roam here and there. So we need to understand the buying pattern. Accordingly, we need to keep the shelving. That is also very important. And not only the shelving the product, addition to that, based on the billing information, we can track and we can give the further notification based on your booking. We are giving further discount for your next order. Through that, we can go for next booking also, next purchase also we are going based on their billing informations. Okay, these are all achieved by using machine learning. Machine learning is not only used in the web application, even the mobile app also it is very much used. For example, if you book some order, if you book some food in Swiggy, or if you book some ride in Ola or Uber, based on your booking, the frequent notification you will get, frequent message based on your past booking. Next, this is the offer we are giving to make the next booking in that app. So these type of things are done with the help of machine learning algorithm. So face recognition, character recognition, speech recognition, all these things achieved with the help of machine learning algorithm. And you know, the whole world nowadays is affected because of coronavirus, COVID-19, you know very well. The coronavirus originates from China, Wuhan. Compared to, but China controlled the spread and depth in because of coronavirus. Even compared to developed countries like US, Russia, Italy, not able to control the spread of virus. But China controlled the coronavirus spread and depth through machine learning algorithm. Through machine learning only, they controlled the spread and depth with the help of face recognition technique, by using surveillance strategy. That is, the Chinese authority deployed more than 300 million high-resolution surveillance camera across the street. Through surveillance camera, they detected the corona-affected patient by keeping the symptoms and scanning the face. And the face is linked with the national ID. What is the national ID we have in India?
Aadhaar card.
Aadhaar card, right? Likewise, in China also, they have their own national ID. Through the national ID, the Chinese authority tracked their face in public transport and hospital records. Based on the affected patient, they kept the area as a consignment zone. Through that, they controlled the coronavirus spread and depth. That is because of machine learning algorithm. Let me show you one small video clip. You will understand how they controlled.
By Chinese authorities who've been deploying drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and loudspeakers. It's one part of China's massive surveillance strategy to tackle the spread of the coronavirus, which has reached just about every region in the country. The virus has infected more than 80,000 in China, resulting in the deaths of more than 2,000 people in the country, far surpassing the death toll from SARS.
The difference between 2003 and 2020 is really enormous in terms of the government's reliance on the development of surveillance technology. Almost none of these tools were on offer at that time.
Sophie Richardson is the China director at Human Rights Watch. She says during this public health crisis, China is embarking on an unprecedented use of surveillance by using big data and its citizens. So what exactly is China's surveillance strategy? We can work to battle the epidemic. There are an estimated more than 300 million surveillance cameras in China. Authorities are using them to monitor Chinese citizens.
Many of the surveillance cameras in use in China now are equipped with facial recognition capabilities, which simply gives the authorities the ability to track who specifically has gone to which precise location.
Combine that with data scraped from hospital records, police files, and public transportation history. All that is stored and linked to national ID cards, which gives the Chinese government granular information about all its citizens. In January, a man who tested positive for the coronavirus used public buses and subways to crisscross China's eastern city of Nanjing. The police posted his journey with specific dates and times on social media, with a warning that anyone who is in that area get tested for the virus. China's public health authorities have been candid about the use of big data during this public health crisis.
大数据它会告诉你，你周围接触的人可能是误区了，我这是感染者。
They even developed a mobile phone app called the Close Contact Detector. The app has a database of people who have tested positive or have symptoms. So as soon as you type in your name and national ID and log in, the app will tell you if you've ever come into close contact with someone who tested positive, or if you're in the clear. So far, more than 200 million people have used the app.
These new and different use of the technology around the coronavirus may help resolve some of the public health concerns, but it's also another way for the government to gather large amounts of information about people really effectively without their consent, and in some cases without even their knowledge.
Chinese health officials say all this data is in the pursuit of controlling the epidemic. 第一呢，你可以更进一步的摸清局势；第二呢，把这个对相关部门，尤其是基层。
China, many people probably have not developed that kind of awareness.
Yang Zhanghuang studies global health and progress. He says many in China want this type of monitoring because it's about life or death.
When they will be protecting
So hope you understand that how China controlled the coronavirus spread and depth through machine learning algorithm. Right. It is very powerful algorithms are there. Even in the election campaigns nowadays, you know the person name called Prashant Kishore. Have you heard about that? Prashant Kishore. He's an election strategist from Bihar. So So many states recent election result, they won with the help of Prashant Kishore, the election strategy. They used machine learning to make the predictions. Mamta and in Tamil Nadu, Stalin. So many states, they succeeded because of the strategy. Everywhere we can use machine learning, is not restricted with any particular industries. Everywhere we need automation. We can do the predictions easily with the help of machine learning. All these things we are going to implement through the software name called Python. So why Python is so popular nowadays? Why everywhere is using Python? Most of the companies, they are upgrading their technology into Python. Why is Python is so popular?
Sir, because it has library for every book, sir.
Okay, right. Any other reason? Right. Adding to that, so Python is so popular because there are number of inbuilt libraries are there, number of inbuilt powerful libraries are there in the Python. So we don't want to write hundreds or 1,000 lines codes like Java or .NET. Okay, so if you go to Python, we just import the package and execute the code easily. People who don't have any programming background also, they can learn the software easily. It is like verbose, like English sentence. We can execute the code easier way. We can execute, easy to learn, easy to implement. And it is open source. Anyone, anytime, anywhere, they can download the software easily. And it is a versatile. It support multiple operating system like Windows, Mac, Linux, multiple operating system it support. Most importantly, big data compatibilities are there in the Python. These are all the various reasons Python is so popular nowadays. And Python is the official language of Google. It is the #1 programming language nowadays. Compared to other programming language, Python is overedge in the market. It is very good demand in the market. The people who know Python skills, there is very good opportunity in the market. Career wise, if you look into that, as per the NASSCOM, next to US, India is having the huge opportunity for machine learning professions. Opportunity means job wise also very high, project wise also very high. It is very good demand is there in the market. That is why everyone moved into the machine learning and data science professions. Who can get into this profession? The people who completed BBA, BCA, MCA, until they can get into this profession easily. And coming to the pay wise, entry level itself very high compared to other industry like finance, marketing, HR, operation, or IT. Compared to other profession, pay wise very high in this profession. Pay wise very high. Okay, pay wise very high in this profession. It is very good demand is there in the market. And top companies already implemented. See the IT companies or KPOs, bank, analytics, top companies and all implemented machine learning in their business process. Not only in India, globally, Walmart, Citi, Hyundai, Genpact, Barclays. Globally, it is implemented. Not only in India, globally they implemented. So why you want to become the machine learning? Opportunity wise also very high, pay wise also very high. Okay, opportunities are very high in the market. That's why machine learning is having very good demand. Okay, 2025 and all, there is a huge demand is there in the market. That's why we go for machine learning. How 15 years back, we all moved from manual process to computerized process. 15 years back, We all moved from manual to computerized process, but nowadays everyone is moving from computerized process to automated process. When we want to implement automation, definitely machine learning plays the major role. Machine learning helps to automate the process. So let's discuss how machine learning is used in the Google to automate their process. Let me show you one small video clip. You will understand the real-time application of machine learning in used. Small video clip you will understand.
Talked a lot today about machine learning and AI. We think there is an opportunity to accelerate computing by working on this with everyone else. And so we are trying to do that in two ways. First, we are opening up core components of our machine learning systems. Last year, we open sourced TensorFlow so that developers can embed machine learning and deep neural nets with a single API. In 2015, was the most forked project on GitHub, and it is the #1 machine learning project on that site. Last week, we open sourced a natural language parser, which is also built on top of TensorFlow. We are doing these things so that we can engage the external community and work on this together with everyone. Second, for developers and companies out there, we are also exposing our machine learning capabilities through our Google Cloud Platform. We already have a cloud machine learning platform underway, and you get access to computer vision, speech, language, and translation APIs. And we are working on bringing many more machine learning APIs so that you can get access to the same great capabilities we have inside of Google. We believe this will be one of the biggest differentiators for the Google Cloud Platform over time. And by the way, when you use Google Cloud Platform, you not only get access to the great software we use internally, you get access to specialized hardware we build internally. And talking about that, for machine learning, the scale at which we need to do computing is incredible. And so we've started building specialized custom hardware. We call these tensor processing units, or TPUs. TPUs deliver an order of magnitude goals. Many more possible board configurations than there are atoms in the universe. Beating Go for computers was widely considered to be the grand challenge for AI, and most people thought it wouldn't happen for another decade or so. So we are really thrilled that AlphaGo was able to achieve this milestone recently. One thing worth calling out, in the second game, there was a move 37 by AlphaGo. It changed the course of the game and is now widely considered one of the most beautiful Go moves ever seen in tournament play. It was not just an intuitive move, but a very creative move. We normally don't associate computers with making creative choices. And so to us, this represents a significant achievement in AI. By the way, Lei Sedol has won every single game since he played against AlphaGo. And he has even replayed some of the moves he learned from AlphaGo in that game. As the state-of-the-art capabilities in machine learning and AI progress, we see them becoming very versatile, and we think it applies to a wide range of fields. I want to give you two examples. First, robotics. At Google, a bunch of 20%ers decided to help trained robots to pick up objects. You can see it behind me. This is not new. You usually do it by writing control system code. You program the robots with rules. But this time, they decide to use deep learning techniques. So you create a continuous feedback cycle so that the robots can learn hand-eye coordination by themselves using deep learning. As you can see, they keep doing it and they keep learning it over and over again. And over time, they get better and they even learn natural and useful behaviors. So for example, the robot is nudging the stapler away to pick up that yellow object. We didn't write that rule. The robot learned it automatically using deep learning. So it's an amazing example of what machine learning can do. Another example in healthcare. Diabetic retinopathy is the fastest growing cause of blindness. It affects 4.2 million people in the US and many more worldwide. To detect it, you need to do a scan of the eye like you see behind me, and a highly trained doctor can detect it. If detected early, the treatments are effective. If detected late, it causes irreversible blindness. And it's very, very difficult to have highly trained doctors available in many parts of the world. So we set out to work with a small team of engineers and doctors, and again used deep learning and started training on eye scans. And over time, our computer vision systems have gotten really good at detecting diabetic retinopathy early. This is still early and there's a long road ahead, and we'll work with the medical community to get it in the hands of as many people as possible. But you can see the promise again of using machine learning. When I hear about advancements like these, I'm reminded that we live in an extraordinary period for computing. Whether climate change, healthcare, or education, the most important struggles already have thousands of brilliant and dedicated people working to make progress on issues that affect everyone. Now consider what the best climate change researchers, doctors, or educators can do with the power of machine learning assisting them. As you've seen today, I'm incredibly excited about the progress that we are making with machine learning and AI. We believe that the real test is whether humans can achieve a lot more with the support of AI assisting them. Things previously thought to be impossible may in fact be possible. We look forward to building this future together with all of you. Thank you for joining us at Google I/O.
Yes, so hope you understand that how machine learning is very much helpful in various industry, various business will be discussed in detail. So to summarize that, in this session, we learned what is machine learning, what are all the modules in the machine learning, the applications of machine learning and AI, and the career aspects of machine learning and AI. Also, we discussed about how these machine learning and AI implementing in the Python, why Python is so popular, like the different dimensions with respect to machine learning we discussed. In addition to that, we also discussed a different real-time examples also. Okay, so that is all about brief about this session, artificial and machine learning using Python, the short brief about this session. Let me small brief about what we are. Okay, let me give you one small video clip about our organization, what the Brainswig all about. One minute. Yes, so that is all about the short brief of our company. So we are into the Brainswig EduTech Private Limited. So we are providing this machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, various program. We are offering the certification course to the different stream of students from BCA, MCA, BTech, and BCom, like varieties of the streams of students. We are offering the certification course, and more than 250 colleges we tied, and we also signed the MOU with more than 200 colleges. And also we providing the analytic solutions to the different retail companies. So that's the short brief about our organization. And so hope you enjoyed this session. So let me know any doubts you have. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, whatever you have doubts.
Yes, students, you are free now to ask questions to sir. As you've seen, it was a very interactive session, full of video examples you have seen. Sir has touched all the points after deep into artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now your turn. I have instructed in the initial way of this lecture that you should take pen and copy and you should write your doubts, which we will discuss later in the class. So I guess you must have some doubts. You can ask it now.
Neeraj, what you can do, you may ask the students in feedback form for their questions, and those questions you can forward to Dr. Dinesh.
Right, sir. Right. That's right.
And in any case, you will be in touch with Dr. Dinesh. So you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So students, if you have any questions, any doubts, you can put it into your feedback form, and then we'll forward your questions to sir, and accordingly we'll get back to you. So sir,
okay, definitely, sir.
Yeah, Dinesh sir, as expected, this lecture has been very interesting, full of knowledge, especially your video examples you've shown, especially of Sundar Pichai and other machine learning examples. They were very interesting. Our students are also liking that. Even Vice Principal Director sir is also appreciating your lecture, not only lecture, your content, your delivery, and everything. So on behalf of IPS students, our faculty members, myself, our Vice Principal Director sir, I'm really thankful to you for sparing your valuable time for us. And we look forward for such more sessions in the future. And hopefully we'll be having FDPs also, for, especially for faculties as well. I would request Director sir once again to please say a few words again.
Neeraj, I think you have concluded very nicely. Just I would add only that in just about 1.5 hours, providing input in such crisp and precise content is really appreciable. And I'm sure that all the students and even the faculty members, those who are part of this session, they must have got fair idea about what actually machine learning is, why it is becoming very important. Because irrespective of vertical, everywhere now AI has made its made sure that everyone feels the presence of AI, whether it is hardcore IT students like BCA students, those who are part of this session, or faculty like us, or the businesses, whether it is retail, whether it is FMCG, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is pharmaceutical, everywhere you will find the presence of AI and machine learning in different forms, which are very important now. The way Dr. Dinesh has presented, especially the concept of clustering, the classification, the supervised and unsupervised learning, this is something which we normally teach in about 8 to 10 hours. And still we find time less. But he has given fair idea that what actually these concepts are. And of course, I'm sure that now students, all those who were present in this session, they must have fair idea about what actually AI is, especially the machine learning, where it is applicable, what kind of career prospects it shows. And one of the most important vertical where still requirement is lot, but availability of resources are very less. So if students have interest, and they must have, if you have interest in this, you must come forward. You must start learning from today itself, and rest assured that the sky is the limit. But the only thing what you all need to do to have that interest, zeal, get into and try to learn as much as possible. You all know that we as an institute, we do not rely only on the syllabus part, which is prescribed by the university. Of course, you all will be studying all the subjects because you have to write the examination. And of course, these subjects, what you are studying, they're very important to lay down the solid foundation. But then when foundation is built, then you need to build that building also. And there you need these kind of tools, the AI, the machine learning, and other things. You must be knowing about IoT. IoT is again an excellent example of this. Robotic, you all every day you see, even about 12 days back when Tokyo Olympics were inaugurated, during the inaugural session, they used one robot which displayed the basketball play. That robot was playing. There were balls which were kept hidden at different points. That robot was moving on the ground on that court, and it was locating those basketballs, taking from there, and from different distances it was attempting to put the ball in basketball, that net, and it attempted around 7 to 8 times, and 100% accuracy it maintained. So that's the application of robotic, and from where it is getting that intelligence, that from how to locate the balls which are kept at place which normally you will find it difficult, locating ball, picking up, then finding out the angle, calculating the distance, and then identifying by which force you need to throw that ball, which hits the target. This is an excellent example of AI and machine learning. It happened during the inauguration of Tokyo Olympics. So from your around, you get these ideas, and these things are becoming very important, very crucial for a student. And this opens the opportunity of lots of opportunities. I'm sure you all must have got a wonderful insight of this. At least you all are now educated, those who were not aware what actually machine learning is in true sense about 1.5 hours back. Now you have a background at least to begin with. Dr. Dineshji, it was a wonderful session, and I was just back of the scene. I, Vice Principal, and Professor Neeraj were having some conversation. Professor Neeraj will be in touch with you, and let's try to find out something which makes you, through which we can engage for different activities also. Students have now fair idea, and as I was mentioning, that we as an institute, apart from course curriculum, we also create opportunities to students for learning newer technologies. We have certain facilities we have in campus, like IoT, we have mobile application development, we have big data lab, we have. So all those things there. But apart from this, that integration of these technologies to learn more. AI, it's something last time data analytics we included, cybersecurity we included. And the students, those who are part of this session, their seniors have studied those value-added modules. And it has really helped in making sure that in spite of all lockdown, in spite of all those odds, our students are placed in all leading companies, like whether it is TCS, whether it is Infosys, whether it is Wipro, whether it is Zomato, whether it is Nagarro, whatever name. And we are expecting very soon few results from Deloitte and Capgemini too. And I was seeing probably Accenture may also be included in this list. So this has become possible only because our students are engaged in learning continuously. Apart from their course curriculum, they are spending time in learning these new technologies. Keep learning, keep yourself engaged in learning all these new things. And I'm sure that this will help each of you. Thank you very much, Dr. Dinesh, for this wonderful session. And we look forward for many more in time to come. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
So
so much,
thanks
sir.
for giving the opportunity, sir, and everyone, director, sir, vice principal, and Neeraj, sir, to deliver the sessions on AI and machine learning to your students. Yes, I definitely look for the future commitments with yours.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you, Dinesh, sir. Thank you so much. On behalf of ITS, let me share something. Sir, you have to disconnect your stick first. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is plate for you as a token of thanks. We have this for you. Let me share. This is for you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, students. Have a nice day. Thank you, Director, sir. Thank you, Vice Principal, ma'am, all faculty members and students.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. So kindly ask them to fill the feedback in the link, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure. We'll
It
share
will be
later.
help us.
Definitely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Neeraj ji.
Thank you. Yeah.